Picture this. My gorgeous, hard-earned Louis Vuitton tote, the one I scrimped and saved for over 2 years, now drenched in neon green paint, dripping onto the flawless stone tiles of the Willow Creek Community Center. The crowd of neighbors stood frozen, jaws dropped, as the chaos unfolded. At the heart of it all was Susan Harper, the Homeowners Association president, her face a mask of smug satisfaction, clutching an empty paint can like she'd just won a moral crusade. No hint of regret in her eyes, not even as police sirens wailed closer, racing toward our ritzy Willow Creek neighborhood to haul her off for vandalism. Let me rewind a bit to explain how this absolute madness went down. 3 weeks earlier, I just settled into what I thought was my dream community. Willow Creek was the kind of place you see in magazines. Manicured lawns, stunning homes, and a pool that screamed luxury. I'd landed here after climbing the ladder as a PR manager at a tech firm, and I was pumped to make it my home. My first chance to mingle came at the HOA's summer picnic, a perfect opportunity to charm my new neighbors. That morning, I picked my outfit with Korea breezy sundress, nothing too showy, paired with my pride and joy, that classic black leather Louis Vuitton tote. It wasn't just a bag, it was a symbol of every late night, every deadline I'd crushed to earn my promotion. I strolled into the community center feeling like I belonged. That VYB lasted maybe 5 minutes. Susan Harper zeroed in on me the second I stepped through the door. She was in her late 50s, with flawless auburn hair and a smile that felt more like a warning than a welcome. As HOA president, she carried herself like she ruled the place. Her eyes locked onto my tote, and I swear I saw her expression curdle from fake friendly to outright contempt. The jab started right away, cloaked in that polite but poisonous tone. Over a plate of coleslaw, Susan mused about how nice it must be to have cash to burn on frivolous luxuries. She wondered loud enough for others to hear if some folks might feel unsettled by such blatant displays of wealth. Each word dripped with judgment, her smile sharp as a knife. I tried to laugh it off, explaining I'd worked hard and saved for years, but Susan didn't care about my story. To her, I was already the spoiled newcomer who needed to be put in her place. The picnic turned into a gauntlet of her snide remarks. Every time she passed my little group, she'd toss out barbs about consumerism or excessive lifestyles. Neighbors started noticing, their glances darting between us, awkward and tense. I kept my cool, but I knew this wasn't over. Sure enough, the real trouble kicked off the next week. Monday evening, I found an HOA citation on my car's windshield. My recycling bin was out 10 minutes past pickup time. Wednesday brought another, claiming my hedges were unkempt, even though the landscapers had just been there. By Friday, I got a formal letter about my mailbox being a half-inch off regulation distance from the street. Each violation was technically within Susan's power as HOA president, but the pattern was crystal clear. She was gunning for me. I wasn't about to let it slide. I snapped photos, kept notes, and saved every scrap of paper, sensing this could get ugly. My gut was right. 3 weeks later, at the Willow Creek Autumn Fair, things went from bad to apocalyptic. I made the mistake of bringing my Louis Vuitton tote, again not to rub it in anyone's face, but because it was my go-to bag. The moment Susan spotted me, her face turned beet red, like she'd been simmering in resentment for weeks. She stormed over, voice booming, announcing to the entire PA-VY Lion that certain people thought they were above everyone else. Pointing right at me, she declared my attitude was poisoning the community. The crowd went quiet, all eyes on us. Susan's rant got louder, accusing me of flaunting my wealth and demanding to know why I thought I was so special. I stayed calm, explaining I was just carrying my bag, not trying to upset anyone. But Susan was past listening. She'd whipped herself into a righteous fury. Con Vwine said she was the neighborhood's moral SAVY, or she started preaching about kids going hungry while I wasted money on designer goods. Then, in a move no one saw coming, she vanished for a moment, only to return with a can of neon green paint from the kids' craft table. The air felt heavy, like the whole PA-VY line knew something wild was about to happen. Susan raised the can like she was making a grand statement. shouting that extravagance had no place in Willow Creek. Before anyone could blink, she dumped the entire can onto my tote. Neon green paint splattered across the pristine leather, pooling on the tiles at my feet. The crowd gasped, then fell dead silent, except for the drip, drip, drip of paint hitting the ground. My beautiful Bagme symbol of hard work was ruined, the paint already soaking into the leather. For a split second, I was stunned, staring at the mess. But instead of losing it, a strange calm washed over me. This was the over-the-top meltdown I'd been bracing for, and I was ready. I locked eyes with Susan, pulled out my phone, and dialed 911. Speaking clearly to the dispatcher, I reported a vandalism incident at the Willow Creek Community Center. Susan stood there, still gripping the empty can, looking shocked that I'd actually called the cops. She'd probably expected me to cry or scream, not take charge. Neighbors started whipping out their phones, some calling friends, others snapping photos or recording the scene. Susan tried to spin it, babbling to anyone who'd listen that she was taking a stand against materialism. But the crowd wasn't buying it. They saw her cross a line from petty bullying to straight-up crime. Within 10 minutes, 2 police officers rolled up. They took one look at my paint-soaked tote and the can in Susan's hands, then listened as I gave a clear, no-nonsense account. Susan, meanwhile, launched into a wild spiel about community values and moral duty. The officers stayed patient, heard her out, then calmly told her she was under arrest for vandalism. The second those handcuffs clicked around her wrists, Susan's smug facade cracked. She started yelling that it was all a misunderstanding, that she was just teaching me a lesson about humility. But the EVY Denke was undeniable, dozens of witnesses, plus phone VY Deos capturing every second. As the cops led her away, she twisted back to scream at me, insisting I'd regret blowing this out of proportion, that the neighborhood would see me as the VY lane. Her words fell flat. Neighbors shook their heads, disgusted by the woman who'd crowned herself their moral compass. The fallout was swift and brutal. My tote was valued at $4,500, making Susan's stunt a felony vandalism charge. I filed a CIVYL lawsuit for the bag's full replacement cost, plus damages for emotional distress. The HOA board called an emergency meeting and voted unanimously to boot Susan as president, slamming her for conduct unbecoming a leader. Her defense only dug her deeper. She hired a fancy lawyer, claiming her paint throwing was community active VY small. The judge wasn't impressed, especially when prosecutors showed the stack of frivolous citations she'd slapped me with, plus crystal clear VY Deo from the fair. In the end, Susan got 6 months in county jail suspended, pending 2 years of probation, and was ordered to pay $7,500 in restitution and court fees. The look on her face when the gavel dropped was almost as satisfying as watching her get cuffed. The woman who tried to shame me into submission was now the neighborhood pariah, her reign of petty tyranny over. Looking back, it's wild to think one bag could spark such a firestorm. But this wasn't just about a Percy, it was about someone using their power to bully and control, only to crash and burn when they went too far. I got my justice, but it left me wondering, was Susan really fighting for community values, or was this just personal? Could I have handled it differently to avoid the explosion? And what do you think, did she deserve the felony charge? Or was this all blown out of proportion? Should HOA presidents have this much power to mess with people's lives? Drop your thoughts below, hit that like button if you're team justice, and subscribe for more crazy stories like this. Let's get this debate going.